happens when your spouse is not the best thing that ever happened to you as far as you're feeling in that moment. Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your girl coach Corey. This is the place we inspire, motivate, and we impact. It's been a minute. I've missed you. We haven't had time to really sit down and chat. We were traveling, but I'm happy to be back. Kindly consider following me on this channel, which means tap on the subscribe button and tap on that notification bell so that anytime we have a new video, you get notified. And like, share, please share this video with your friends, and it'll help me grow my channel, and it'll also allow me to bring more content. So today we're going to be starting a new segment. The new segment is Relationship Corner, and the reason we're doing this segment is you have been asking for it. A lot of people have come to me and said, Corey, why don't you introduce a relationship segment on your channel? Those who know me on a personal level know that I have been doing a lot of premarital and marital counseling for quite a few years, and so this is something that I hadn't intentionally planned to put it on here, but if it's gonna help somebody, if it's gonna save a relationship, it's gonna save a marriage, then guess what? Let's do this. So today I want us to start off with a very basic question that I want us to answer. Vuta stool, grab a chair, let's talk. Why do you want to get married? But before we dive into that, the reason why I ask this is I examine my own life. I love to use my life. As you can see, I share a lot from my own personal life. I love to use my life as an example of the do's and don'ts because I have made enough mistakes. I met my husband while we were in college and went to college in India in the market. Yes, and trust me, I was not looking for a husband, okay? I was way too young to be looking for a husband. At the time I got married, I can't tell you that I know exactly why I got married. In fact, I had seen, well, Cinderella, hello. I expected my wedding or my life to live out something like Cinderella. You know, happily ever after with my Prince Charming. Doesn't work out like that in real life. Doesn't matter how good your spouse is. He's human, you're human, y'all are gonna mess up some, especially if you go in that marriage without a clear understanding of why you're getting married. And I want us to examine the reasons you get married. I remember when we were first dating, this one particular time, we were going through, we were very new to each other. And so we were going through this place where there was a narrow entrance. And so my husband, he was my boyfriend then, he just let me walk through, and then he touched my shoulder so that, kind of like just in nice, just in a nice gesture, like, so that I can go through safely, because it was like a passage through a broken wall kind of thing. And I remember that moment when he touched my shoulder, and I kid you not, I almost collapsed. I felt a bolt of electricity come from this side and enter my body and then come out on the other side, and I just felt parasha. Yes. Now for those who don't know what that means, I just felt weak in my knees and I cannot speak. Yeah, you know the song. What's my point? At the beginning of a relationship, at the beginning of a dating relationship, or even when you're coming into marriage, that typically is where many people are. So what are the chances that you're going to make some very sober decisions that are not clouded by how you feel? And that's why I'm putting this video together, to allow us to take time off of feelings. Because if you're guided by your feelings, those feelings win. Few years down the road, you're gonna wake up with that spouse and wonder, what were you thinking? I did it. He's done it. We've had that conversation. Like, why did I not notice this and this and this and this? Yeah? So if you're getting married because you're in love, I'm sorry. I don't even know that you know what in love means, because you're being driven by your emotions and not necessarily by a true love. You know that, and I speak from a Christian perspective because that's what I am. That love that is persevering, that is kind, that does not keep a record of wrongs, that love that will not be critical of the other person, that love that gives, you know, the kind of love that Jesus has for us, that we struggle to have for one another. You know that one? Most of us don't have that. And life is a constant journey towards understanding, receiving that love, and being able to give it out. So if you're getting married because you're in love, check yourself. Check yourself. If you're getting married because your spouse makes you feel good about yourself, that's great, but that may not always be the case. So what happens when your spouse is not making you feel good about yourself? What happens when the compliments stop? What happens when you do your hair and he doesn't notice? What happens when you've got a new outfit and you're looking good and you know you're fine and your spouse doesn't even look up? What happens when you have made that meal and you know that it's his favorite meal, you've been slaving in the kitchen, and he just gobbles it up like it was a regular meal? What happens? What happens when she stops dressing sexy for you and she's too tired and she has a headache? What happens? What happens when she doesn't see you as that macho man that she used to see you in the beginning of the relationship, and you're no longer that boo, and now you're Baba Nani or you're Papa so and so? What happens? Do you see where I'm coming from? What happens when your spouse is not the best thing that ever happened to you as far as you're feeling in that moment? What happens when you're trying to express yourself and you're trying to talk to them, but you're only talking at them? What happens? Let's talk, people. Let's talk. So today, as I just bring up this topic, I want us to have a conversation, and I'd love to hear your comments, because some of you are in dating relationships where you're already experiencing some of the things that I'm talking about. And see, we are coming from a culture that when we don't like what we see, we just get out. When you don't like what you're watching on TV, you flip the channel. When you don't like a relationship, you check out. When you don't like someone, what they're doing on Instagram, Facebook, you unfriend them, you unfollow them. We no longer live in a world where we take time to understand one another. And so my question to you, are you willing to take the time to understand the other person outside of how you feel? Understand their personality. Understand their background. Do you know how much their background is going to play into the decision-making process in the marriage? I'm going to leave you with this today. When our daughter turned 1 year old, there was a discussion of having a birthday party for her. And at the time, we were not financially stable to where I felt that was a priority. I come from a family where my mother struggled to raise us. And so we didn't do things that were not necessary. My husband, on the other hand, comes from a pretty decent, stable family, 2 parents and all. and they had birthdays throughout, and their parents celebrated them and had birthday parties. Now you can see here, we come together, we need to make a decision whether this child is going to have a birthday party. Where I'm coming from, this child is 1, okay? She will never remember it. It's not like she's gonna get traumatized because she didn't have a birthday party. Now my husband, on the other hand, is like, this child is named after my mother. Hello. And in our family, we had birthday parties. And so you best believe we're having a birthday party for this child. And for him, it was a non-negotiable. For me, it was a waste of money. Now, at the end of it, I relented and I gave in. But I gave in, in our language, we say shingo pande. I gave in begrudgingly. That is a very small decision, but it was a money decision. It was a decision to do with the family. It was a decision that included hosting people. And today, I'm grateful we did it. But I cannot begin to tell you how many other decisions we did not agree on based on our background. So again, I end with asking, why are you getting married? Join me on the next time as we go deeper and ask ourselves, is this thing even worth it? Do we need to get married? Is it a good idea? How do you know who is the right person to get married to? How do you last in your marriage? How do you have a happy marriage? Or is there anything like a happy marriage? I don't know. Let's come back and we'll answer it next week on the Relationship Corner. And let me hear your comments. I would love to know, why are you in the relationship you are in? Are you hoping to get married? And if so, why? If you are married, what was your primary reason? Right now, our children are grown. So while it was great to raise them, was that the reason we got married? Because while children are great, I don't know that that is necessarily the best reason for getting married. There is more to marriage than children. There is more to marriage than you or I can even begin to understand. So until next time, see you later. Share, subscribe, like, and let's talk next time. Bye-bye.